Hello and welcome to SEO is Not That Hard. I'm your host, Ed Dawson, the founder of keywordspeopleuse.com, the place to find and organise the questions people ask online. I'm an SEO, developer, affiliate marketer and entrepreneur. I've been building and monetising websites for over 20 years and I've bought and sold a few along the way. I'm here to share with you the SEO knowledge, hints and tips I've built up over the years. Hello and welcome to the latest episode of SEO is Not That Hard, and in this episode we're going to cover my quick SEO tips from numbers 81 to numbers 90. So without further ado, let's dive in. So tip 81, use rel equals canonical to tell Google which version of any page that can be found via multiple URLs is the one that they should consider the authoritative version. In some cases, you may find that a page can be found on your website on more than one unique URL. Now, this is common on sites that use CMSs like WordPress that allow you to have pages in multiple categories, but this could lead to Google deciding it was duplicate content, and we'd rather avoid that. So if we set one version to be the canonical version, this allows you to tell Google which to use as the one to index and treat as the authoritative version. It's just a tag that you set in the HTML of your code. Most CMSs will allow you to set what the canonical version of a page is if you go into the page settings and things like that. So just Google whatever CMS you're using and how to set the canonical tag, the rel equals canonical tag, and go from there. Tip 82, always nofollow links that are within user-generated content. So if you allow users to post their own content on your site, say if you had a forum on your site or you're allowing people to post comments on your blog, and these can include links, then you need to tag these links as either nofollow or UGC. This is because you want Google to know that you don't endorse these links as a site, and it protects you should a user decide to link to a site that may harm your site. It's just a safety method in there, so you can clearly say to Google, this content and these links are user generated and not to be considered the editorial views of this website. Tip 83. If you allow any kind of user-generated content, then I strongly suggest you moderate it before allowing it to be posted. Now, this follows on from the previous tip. The very safest way to deal with any user-generated content is to proactively moderate it before you allow it to be posted. This works well for sites that allow reviews, not so well if you've got a forum, because adding delays in forums for moderation can have a detrimental sort of experience for your site users. But forums, a good forum will tend to self-police itself. And you can sort of do post moderation. That's where you go in, and if someone has broken rules and it's other users have reported, then you can maybe go and remove and edit things after they've been posted. But if you're doing review sites, especially where these are sites where users aren't going to be, they're not really conversing with each other, they're not building a reputation for themselves, it's very sensible to moderate those before you post them. Same with if you allow blog comments on any or post comments on anything you've got. With broadband.co.uk, we allowed people to review their broadband supplier, and we got some horrendously rude and possibly libelous reviews that people tried to put on there. So we always moderated every single one of those reviews that we received before we decided to post it. Sometimes just to remove profanity, and sometimes just because they were gibberish and spam, or sometimes just because we felt that it was a potentially libelous review. Tip 84. Concentrate on topics, not individual keywords. Write about a topic and the keywords get included naturally. Now, too many people obsess over individual keywords and trying to rank for them, and this can lead you to focus too narrowly when producing content to the detriment of your site. By focusing on writing naturally on a topic and the subtopics within, you'll naturally cover many more keywords and in a way that flows for your readers. And over time, this is the kind of content that will build your site into a topical authority. This is a frustration I've always had, is the way that people will sort of frustrate themselves by concentrating too much on keyword volume as a metric and chasing volume rather than trying to kind of holistically cover and semantically cover a topic in the round, and just write naturally. Google is now so much better than it was many years ago at understanding semantically related words, terms, phrases, and concepts. So you don't have to blindly hit keywords. It's much more sophisticated in the way that it understands content nowadays compared to pre-Hummingbird. So don't focus too much on keywords. focus on broad topic areas, and you'll write much better content. Tip 85. There's nothing wrong with old evergreen content, but every so often give it a reread and update anything that's now out of date. Many people in the SEO world obsess a little too much about fresh and new content, and they're convinced that you have to keep churning out new content all the time to stay relevant and keep ranking. But that's really not my experience at all. I mean, I've got sites that I haven't added any pages to for years, but they still rank well. Do make sure, though, that pages keep up to date as things change, like on broadband.co.uk, we had to keep up on top of the latest broadband tech, but don't just churn out new content all the time for the sake of it. Look at some, especially if you're covering historical stuff, lots of facts don't change. You don't have to be constantly refreshing stuff. I think a lot of people get confused because there is a concept called query deserves freshness in Google, where for specific topics, and especially news topics, then yes, Google will look for sites with new and fresh content, but that doesn't cover every single query. And I think 90 plus 99% even probably of the questions that people ask on Google don't need to be from fresh content. They just need to be from good authoritative content. Tip 86, create FAQ pages, frequently asked questions pages. And you can use keywords people use to find the questions that people are frequently asking. People search on Google to get answers to questions. It's just plain common sense to cover frequently asked questions on your site. FAQs work particularly well on product pages and review pages, but pretty much any page can benefit from an FAQ section. Always make sure to include FAQs, and always go to a good source such as keywords people use for finding what people are actually asking. Tip 87, your site should have these basic pages: about, privacy policy, terms and conditions, and contact. The Google Quality Rating Guidelines specifically recommends that raters look for these types of pages when trying to evaluate EEAT, experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trust, the signals for a website that Google wants those sites which have those EEAT signals. They also add trust signals for your audience because they show who you are, how you look after their personal data, and how they can get in touch with you. Personally, I don't like, if I'm looking at a site and it doesn't show me, at least just have somewhere where I can just find some basic information about how to contact a site, what their terms and conditions are, who owns the site. If those things are missing, then a whole lot of trust is missing, and Google's is going to pick up on those things. So just put those basic pages on. They don't take a long time to produce. For all the privacy policy, terms and conditions, all those legalese, there's lots of free templates out there that you can use. And to put a contact form on, it's dead simple. So do put those on all your sites. Tip 88, use a content calendar to plan what content to produce and when to publish it, especially if you're working with a seasonal topic. Yeah, this is especially important if there's any kind of seasonality or time sensitivity to your site's themes. E-commerce sites tend to have busy seasons, depending on what they're selling, and you want your content lined up and ready before you peak. There's no point writing a guide to summer gardening trends in the summer, because by the time you've written it, the time you've got it on your website, the time it's got indexed, the time it's started ranking, by the time all that is done, the season is over. You've got to line things up early and ready for these things. And if you cover sports or any kind of upcoming events that happen in the topic you're covering, you need to be ready for them. I think big sporting events here, you know when the FA Cup final's coming, when the Super Bowl's coming. If you want to time any content with these things, you've got to have a plan up front of when you're going to do it, get it lined up, get the resources in, and make sure the content's produced well in time. Tip 89, build on existing pages. Add new content to existing pages that rank well to make them rank for even more related terms. Always keep an eye on your existing pages that are doing well. Can you improve or add to them to increase its reach even more? It can often be easier and bring quicker results to build on existing content rather than starting from scratch. So always evaluate where you can improve on the pages you've got, because it's just a great, perfect starting point. And tip 90, try and build a brand over time so you become the authority for a topic area. Google loves brands, people love brands. By building a brand, you send in positive signals to your customers and to Google. Your end game, and I know it's not easy, but the end game is to try and get people to think of your site when they think of a topic. And you don't have to have it so that the entire world thinks of your site and think of a topic. But if you are serving your audience well and you become a leader in your topical area, then people who are interested in that area and that topic will start to get to know you, and they will start to come to you, and they will start to link to you. So that's why it's worth trying to build a brand and just thinking about whether your content's good enough to bring people back repeatedly, whether you're covering it enough so that if someone who is trying to research, learn about, or is just a real enthusiast for a topic area, will start to think of your site, and that's how you start to build a brand. So that's all the tips for us today. I hope you found them useful, and we'll see you next time for more tips. Before I go, I just wanted to let you know that if you'd like a personal demo of our tools at Keywords People Use, that you can book a free, no obligation, one-on-one video call with me, where I show you how we can help you level up your content by finding and answering the questions your audience actually have. You can also ask me any SEO questions you have. You just need to go to keywordspeopleuse.com/demo, where you can pick a time and date that suits you for us to catch up. Once again, that's keywordspeopleuse.com/demo, and you can also find that link in the show notes of today's episode. Hope to chat with you soon. Thanks for being a listener. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe and share. It really helps. SEO is not that hard. It's brought to you by keywordspeopleuse.com, the place to find and organise the questions people ask online. See why thousands of people use us every day. Try it today for free at keywordspeopleuse.com. To get an instant hit of more SEO tips, then find the link to download a free copy of my 101 quick SEO tips in the show notes of today's episode. If you want to get in touch, have any questions, I'd love to hear from you. I'm at Channel5 on Twitter. You can email me at podcast@keywordspeopleuse.com. Bye for now, and see you in the next episode of SEO is Not That Hard.